Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today with us at WSM. My name is Alice. I am a communication manager at ROD. And this is the first talk of WSM dedicated to the future of retail. And why are we talking about the future of retail? Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm 23. And when I walk into a retail store, I get pissed off. Like there's stuff everywhere, literally everywhere, sales messages, wherever I look. I walk in because I want a white t-shirt. The sales assistant is trying to sell me a jacket. I want to know where the clothes I buy come from, who made them, and nobody is able to answer these questions. Retail stores, as we know them today, do not serve my needs as a consumer. So the question that we would like to attempt to answer here today is it possible to remodel the retail experience to better serve the needs of the end consumer, to better serve my needs, to better serve your needs? And to answer these questions, we have invited 4 amazing speakers with us, and I'm gonna sit down with them to introduce them. So, first up, I'm going to do a presentation round. First up, we have Mico Delli.
Hi.
Ciao, Mick.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, great. Ciao.
Good. Mick is micked.
Exactly. Perfect
Well,
beginning. Yeah.
Beginning.
All right.
Mick, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Mick defines himself as a curious and creative child who never stops having new and weird ideas. And I personally know Mick, and I can tell you for sure that the weird part is true. He's a bit of a nerd in a good way. Mick is the director of experiences. He has an amazing company called Drawlight that creates immersive installations, immersive emotional installations. And I'm curious to know from Mick, what does neuroscience, emotion, memory have to do with the world of retail? So I'll be back with you in a second, Mick.
Yep.
Then we have Alexio. Alexio is the CEO of Stental. And Alexio, I don't know you personally, so why don't you give us 3 words to describe you or the work you do?
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. And my name is Alexio. I'm one of the co-founders, now actually the CEO of Stental. I am a computer science engineer. So I say this as a first thing because usually I don't appear like that. But so behind my shoulder there's a lot of technology. We work on technology currently. We have, after 3 years, we have been acquired by MCube. That is a group quite famous in Europe that works with retail. We work on digital transformation for retail. And,
Alexio, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're
not
going
3 words.
beyond yourself. 3 words, and I'll be back with all your story in a second.
Okay. So?
3 words.
3
You
words.
are
Really
creative,
like
smart, and beautiful.
No, beautiful, I don't know. I mean, I'm creative, for sure. I'm still an engineer. I love innovation.
Great. And beyond this, he's also the CEO of Stental. And Stental is a company that is working to bring the physical and the digital world together, trying to have them coexist seamlessly and offer a retail experience that is personalized on me as an individual. So again, I'll be back with you in a second. But then last and not least, we have Ana and Alba from Barcelona. Thank you so much, girls, for being here. Ana and Alba also have a beautiful story to tell. A story about truth, and I think we desperately need that right now. It's a story about the clothes we wear every day and where they come from. With their company BCOME, they became, in just 1 year, because they launched in 2019, a point of reference for traceability and transparency of supply chains. So again, I cannot wait to hear more about that. But Mick, back to you.
All right.
As I mentioned briefly, you're a neuroscience nerd.
Yep. Do you want me to introduce myself or just go straight with the presentation?
Whatever you do. I mean, I wanted to
Well,
ask,
yeah, as you said, I'm an enthusiast, neuroscience, technology, creativity, curiosity. That's it, I guess. You put them all together and
But the real question is, what do these things have to do with retail and experiences?
Yeah, basically, it's what you told us before. Like, what's your experience when you get into a store? What connects with people? How do brands connect with people? Is there a way to create a relationship that is somewhat fading in the last few years? So in my presentation, I'll tell you a little bit about this because it's at the middle of what we do, basically. So can I start?
Yeah,
All
whenever
right.
you want.
Okay. Can I stand up?
You can do whatever you want.
All
Stage
right.
is yours.
Without mask,
You can
wow.
sit down. You can stand on your heads. Up to you.
Are you ready here? Or? Yeah, perfect. Okay, yeah, my company is called Jolight. So we create immersive experiences for many industries, retail, museums, wellness, hotels, and so on. In the last few years, we've all been questioning ourselves with, where is the retail going? So it was interesting for me in the last few years to see what happened in the last 100 years and what is happening right now, right? So we've seen almost nothing changing in the store experience in the last 100 years. I've been using this slide for 4 years now. It's always the same. Because, yeah, we've been seeing things changing in the shipping industry. You know, Amazon is all about that and stuff. But the store hasn't changed much. And because of COVID, that didn't help either, right? So right now we're still, asking ourselves even more what is going to happen. Millennials came by and they want experiences. So it's not about products anymore, it's a lot about experiences. So probably we should be starting to think if the way that we show our products in the retail industry makes sense or not in the way we're doing it right now. The paradigm that has changed is all in this sentence, basically. The media that was the website used to be, where you would connect with a brand, where the brand could talk about itself, and then you would go to the store to buy things. But right now, everything has changed around. If you go to the store, you go to the store because you want to know more about the brand, and if you want to buy things, you buy things online, okay? So this is the sentence that helped us try to think, okay, so we need to rethink the store in terms of being a media, okay? So, as I said, what we create is emotional experiences. Basically, we create journeys for people, for the consumer, when it gets or she gets into a store to get to know more about the brand and everything. And I got a short video for you, just to spoil my 10 minutes here. It's a 2 minutes video. So, what you're seeing here, I don't know if there's audio. Supposed to. Perfect. These are just few of the installations that we've been doing in the past few years. Basically, we play with light, but we use mainly audiovisual projections. And this is for everything, events, museums, as I said, retail.
While we watch this, Nick, a quick question for you. When you get a project like this, does your client tell you, I want to enhance, I want people to feel this, and this, and then you work in your immersive experience to try and bring those emotions across?
I would love to.
No.
Never. What they usually ask is, well, I need virtual reality. And I'm like, well, are you sure about that? We should talk about that, right? We should question ourselves and see what you want your consumer to feel. So, yeah, that's part of why I keep, talking in stages like this, in order to make people understand that we ask ourselves the wrong question. Like, we always into technology, thinking that will change everything, will help us with everything. But if you don't know why you're doing things, nothing will happen. Like, you can create all sort of engagement, gamification, whatever you want, but if you don't know what you want to engage people with, what kind of emotions you want them to feel, you wouldn't know what kind of instruments you need to use, right? So that's why, just to go along with your question, that's when we started to think in terms of science as well, right? So if we've been talking about emotions for our long 12 years now, thinking that everything that we do is about emotions. But then we thought, okay, yeah, that's it makes sense, but I have no idea how emotions work. So that's when we got into neuroscience to try to understand how we're made, how do we work, okay? And what we found, and the whole retail business is going to be settled on this kind of sentence now, and it's the fact that most of what happens to us is emotional and it's not cognitive. It's around 70% of our actions. It's all about how we feel. And then we sort of give ourselves some excuses of why we bought something or why we needed something, okay? So if everything is emotional, then what we do starts to get important. And the other issue that we have nowadays is that, yes, we've got Amazon, we've got Alibaba, and they work perfectly. Hold on, something happened. They work perfectly, but they deliver some sort of experience because it's fast. If you want something, you can have it the day after. It's all cool, but they are product-centric. So there's no way for people to get into the intrinsic value of a brand. There's no way to connect with the brands. And that's the problems that we have with millennials nowadays. They don't feel the brand. They just jump from brand to brand. And there's no way to get attached to them and to sort of create some sort of connection through time, which is a waste of money as well. So a store, when you have a problem with connection, well, if we were people, we would go to Tinder, right? So So a store is a sort of Tinder. A store is supposed to be the place where brand and people connect together. And if you think about that, it starts to get interesting. Because when you think, how do I connect my brand with people? Then you can sort of use the same strategies that we would use when we go dating someone, right? So, for example, the pleasure of experience. That supports intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation means that when you like something, you want to have more. So if you like someone, you want to get to know her or him more. Same thing with a brand. The pleasure of experience, if we create the right experience in a store, people would want to know more about the brand and the product. And I was supposed to talk about storytelling, so why storytelling in all this? Storytelling gives the pleasure of experience, and at the same time, neuroscience tells us that it's a way that our brain structures information. So forget about all the data, all the info, all the technical details of something. Yes, we sort of think that we believe in that and that we look for the perfect product in terms of that, but in the end, it's all about the way that we structure the data. So if we have to give some information, we need to structure it into some sort of storytelling. And when you ask yourself, how do I create a story? One of the most important questions that have sort of changed the paradigm in the retail industry in the last few years is, who's the hero? Because still 2-3 years ago, the hero was supposed to be the brand. So the brand was the hero, and everyone else was following the brand. And then I'm not going to go through that, but some things happened, and brand started to realize that it wasn't really that way, and the hero was instead the consumer. So everything now is consumer-centric. We need to think about the journey of the consumer. We do this in the retail business, we do it in the museum business, we do it in hotels, wellness, and so on. So what is the role of a brand now? So if the consumer is the protagonist, then the brand is supposed to be the mentor. The mentor that carries the person from A to B, from some status to some other status, from some sort of ideas to some new form of ideas, inspirations, and so on. So that's one important question that a brand should ask themselves when they sort of try to provide a story for the consumer. How do I help them in their journey, and what is their journey going to be? So the story of a brand is supposed to be about the values of a brand. So yes, we have the product, we have the design and everything, but most brands have a lot to talk about, especially in Italy. In Italy, we got everything about history of products and design and R&D and traveling around to see what's the best material for something. That's the story of a brand. And we should talk about that a lot because that's what gives value to products. It's not just price and design, and we know that already. So sensory branding is what we do in a way. Everything that is sort of abstract, that is not tangible, it needs to be told through stories. So we do that mostly with a sensorial sort of journey, because with audiovisual installation, it's a lot about audio, smells, and the visual part. But there's no excuse for anyone. There's so much to talk about for every single brand when we go through intrinsic values. So reason is because today, whatever we buy, most of what we buy is a substitute good, right? Like we've got everything already. If we need or if we want to buy something new, it's because somehow it gave us some sort of inspiration, or we identify with the product, we feel that something is changing in us and we want to sort of identify with it or show people that we're changing. There's all sort of subconscious ways that we decide that we want to buy something new. And mostly we want to feel, right? We're overstimulated by all sort of information, but what we need is we need to feel. Nowadays, why would we want to go to a store? We want to go to a store because we want to have an experience. It's going to be like a sort of museum. We're going there because we want to experience something new. We want to have an experience and talk about it, go back home and talk about it with our friends, share it with our friends. And what are products then? And this is something that I really like. If we go through a journey with a brand, let's say that it's a store that provides a sort of story about the brand and all its values, the products should be those objects that sort of carry all those values in it, right? So it's like a sort of battery. If you go through that journey and in the end you've got the product and you've had a great experience, you would want to take home that product because it will sort of remind you of all the whole experience, and it's like a battery fully charged of something, fully charged of values. So the idea is like those ruby slippers on Oz, right? So it's like you have a product, and when you put it on, you feel all those values with which you identify, and you would want to carry those products with you because you've had that experience, and it's your own experience because it's a story of you, because you're the hero. Thank you very much.
Grazie, Mick. Thank you for sharing. Wrote down a couple of things that I underlined a couple of times. Retails as media channels is something that I personally never thought of. So that's something I'll personally look into. Consumer as hero, values, experiences, and that leads me on to Alexio, because I know with your company, you also bring a completely new experience to the retail space. I didn't mention this actually in your presentation, but Alexio is also a lecturer at the Politecnico of Milano. So one of the first questions I'd like to ask to you is, what is happening in the world of retail at large scale? So what kind of transformations are you seeing generally?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yes, I mean, there are some shift in customer behaviors that are happening around the world, and this is something that we are looking for through the Politecnico, because we are doing a lot of research, but also because as a group we have 400 active customers, clients, with 50,000 of stores, so 50,000 of stores around the world working with our technology or our consultancy. So basically, with this, we have a kind of good observation point of view of what is going on. So the first thing that we are observing is that the customer is is more conscious about health. So is looking for safe spaces, for safe tools and stuff like that. So in this case, for example, Decathlon, I'm mentioning some cases while I'm talking about this that are not strictly related to what we have done. So in this case, Decathlon is not a client of us, but they launched a scan and pay system inside the store that is very similar to what the supermarkets did in the last years. And so basically you can enter the store, you can avoid to touch things except for the product that you want to buy. With the app you can create a cart, you can pay skipping the line at the counter, And this is something can be done without any help from the associate. That say like that could be a bad news, but let me finish the overview is not so bad. So this is something that the customer is looking for. Another thing that we see that the customer is looking for effective engagement. So basically, they don't want to spend time useless inside a store. They want to be more straight to the point. And so in this case, we observe three under trends, sub-trends to say. One is visual configuration. That means brands should provide visual tools to personalize the experience. In this case, Nike, a few weeks ago, launched this app that is based on augmented reality, where customers can take a picture of a sneaker and then draw with the finger on top of the sneaker, and the app try to recognize the customization that the customer wants and create the final real version of the sneakers for the customer. And this is the first one. Another one is live commerce. We call live commerce because it's something that basically some stores are beginning to change in kind of TV studios, where associates can engage customers through video call. So like probably most of us spend a lot of time in video call in the last few months. So this is something that we are trying, or customers is looking for inside the store. So for example, Gucci, 1 month ago in the Florence store, they launched the first live commerce experience where the associate take an appointment with the customer. They start with a video call, and the customer can pay staying at home and then can wait for the products or can go to the store and collect the products straight.
So super, super personalized, almost one-to-one retail experience and attention to the customer.
Exactly.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's something that would definitely serve me as a consumer better. And what about the work that you specifically do with Stental? I know that you guys completely redesign the consumer experience in store, as I mentioned at the beginning, by bringing a physical and digital world together. Can you talk to us a bit about that and how that journey looks like?
Sure. We have, for example, we are doing this digital transformation project for Land of Fashion. Land of Fashion is an outlet village chain. There was the article on Pan Bianco 2 days ago. So we are helping them to create an e-commerce channel to drive people in store. So with click and collect and click and reserve functionality that could be considered very basic, but since a shopping district is not, they don't own the product, they own tenants that pay for a rent. So they are creating all this service for them in order to allow people to come, to drive to store, to go to the store, to the center. And this is a kind of big project that we are following right now. Another one that is on the B2B area, that what's going on the B2B, we work with Pitti. Pitti, this year, unfortunately, they canceled the Pitti, the physical trade exhibition, and they empowered the Pitti Connect, that is a digital version. And Pitti Connect is based on our technology, so we built Pitti Connect for Pitti. The first step was to give a kind of digital catalog, but now we are talking about bringing some of the retail technology inside the exhibition, so that the buyer can go there and look at the products like if it was a final customer entering a store. So this is another quite interesting project that we are doing for them. We're also working with other brands like Balli or Luisa Spagnoli, for example, where we started to create a low-touch experience inside the store. So people can enter the store, scan QR code on the products, explore the products, ask for help to the associate, just pushing a button on the smartphone. And so we, in the shop associate, use all the screen inside the store, proactively changing the content, allowing the customer to be more engaged on what is going to buy. This is a kind of different situation than before, because if you enter a store, usually you see a lot of screen playing videos without any particular interaction with the customer, while we allowed both the customer and the associate to change the content on the screen dynamically based on what the customer wants to purchase in a particular moment. So this is another way to personalize the experience on the sales process.
Great. Thank you very much. So before moving beyond with the girls, is this no-touch experience something that brands and retailers started looking at before COVID, or is it a result of the situation we have lived?
In this case, is mostly a a situation created by the COVID, even if most of the technology that we are talking about is something that was already in place before. And now we see some acceleration from one side on digital transformation, and introduction of the same tools that we used before in a different way to create what we call, we prefer to say low touch instead of no touch, because something we have to touch at the end of the day, so it's low touch. So we try to reduce the touch, but it's something that under the low touch hat is a brand new buzzword, let me say, that uses somehow the same technology that we were using before, but in a different way, and now brands are more, are more convinced to invest on this technology than before, for sure.
Cool. Thank you very, very much for sharing.
Thank you.
Anna and Alba.
Hi.
Hello, girls. So you turn products into data in a sort of way, focusing on traceability and transparency, as I mentioned before. And you obviously provide a huge benefits and values for our clients, for your clients, for the brands. But how does this kind of information impact the end consumer or shape the way that he behaves in a retail store, for example?
Thanks for the introduction, Alice. First of all, we want to share with you how excited we are to be here on this panel today, because one of the things that we love most about our job is to share the knowledge we gather thanks to the more than 15 years experience in fashion industry. Thanks to that experience, we realized that industry didn't need more products, but solutions. And before explaining, before answering your question, we would like to explain a little bit what's BCOME about, because without understanding what we are doing, we cannot answer to that question.
Of course.
And before that, we would like to share our mission, and our mission is to give the real answer on the fashion industry. Probably we are all working on the fashion, well, on the retail, or in fashion, but do you really know how many liters of water it's need for a single t-shirt to be produced, or how many kilometers that t-shirt is traveling around the world to be in your hands, or how many people, how many processes, how many hands are touching this t-shirt?
I will give you these answers to you. There are around 300 liters consumed per one single t-shirt, so just think about it. One single t-shirt, 300 liters behind. More than 10,000 kilometers traveled from raw material extraction to point of sale, and on average, around more than 30 people and 40 processes behind. So it is true. I mean, fashion industry, it's super complex, and we all know that has enormous environmental and social impacts behind. So for us, and I think that it's very important to remark, that nowadays the question is not why anymore. It's how we are going to transform a whole industry. For us, the only way is through data, through knowledge, and through technology. What BCOME does at the final of the day is transform how products are consumed and produced with sustainability at the heart. We help brands to their transformation towards eco-design, innovation, and transparency. And how we do it? We do it through 4 steps. First of all, traceability. We gather and define each step of the value chain of a single product. Second, evaluation. We give a degree of the performance on sustainability for each product. Third, analysis. We give measurements of environmental impacts associated along their value chain, giving them indicators on climate change, eutrophication, water use, and waste. And 4, and the reason why we are here, we digitize all this supply chain and all this data that we gather, measure, and evaluate, and communicate it and bring it to final consumer. So at the end of the day, BCOME, it's about connecting brands to conscious consumer and helping brands to transform their supply chain to a resilient, efficient, and responsible supply chain.
Let me explain better the importance of that data, because with the brand, we are giving to them a supply report, a report about sustainability for all the garments on the collection. So that means that we are giving a unit impact for each garment, and not only this, we are also giving the impact in terms of all the supply chain. Let's see an example. For example, if the brand, they want to analyze 100 reference, we are giving a unit impact for that reference, but at the same time, we are giving the impact in terms of raw material, in terms of material processes, in terms of transport, in terms of in terms of use and end of use. And this power, this information helps the brand to be more conscious and to reduce the impact for the future collections. But at the same time, on the other hand, we are giving an easy template that you can see on this screen, an easy template to communicate to the final customers, because the final customers are asking for that too, are asking for how can they buy more sustainable. So we are integrating all of this information on e-commerce page, or otherwise on this QR code that could be a smart labeling, that once you are checked, you have the information in terms of sustainability. And because we are here to talk about customers and to talk about sustainable, how can they be more sustainable, we would like to share with you a few tips, at least, to be more conscious, because the key is to be conscious.
Ben, quick question.
Yeah.
Just before, I don't want to interrupt you, Alba.
Yeah.
But so your clients place these QR codes for which customers can access the full supply chain on their website. Do they also print them on the clothes, like on the tags?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, they communicate the data as they believe they have to do. Some of them they integrate on their e-commerce pages, and the other ones they provide those information through smart labeling, maybe using technology as RFID or QR codes. It depends on the brands. We give the data in an easy way, and they communicate the way they believe it's better.
I don't know do you know about EcoAlf brand?
Yes, EcoHealth?
Yeah, so if you can go to EcoAlf and select any kind of products, you can see there the real product that we are offering.
Yeah, the whole story behind it is that we are so used to nutritional facts, for example, because food industry is in our dailies. Why we are not used on environmental or social facts. So we are offering this information in an easy way, because we can go on big steps on sustainability if we don't make small steps before. So we are giving like very easy data to final consumers and to brands to make conscious decisions.
Great. Thank you so much, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to recap a bit what you all said.
Yeah.
So Mick talked about storytelling, about the retail as a media channel, experiences, and then Alexio talked about safety in a retail store, highly personalized experiences, low touch experiences, touch but not too much, and the coexistence between physical and digital. And then Anna and Alba, the stories behind the clothes we wear, the importance of data, and of delivering this information to the consumer in a way that we can all understand. So we have 15 minutes left, so if you guys want to add anything to what you said, or if you have questions for each other, or if you think there's something that's particularly important that should be remarked.
I think that maybe questions are good, no? Maybe it's more...
Yeah, I mean, I know that Mick, he always examines everything from a point of view of how the information that you're showing to me, in the case of BCOME, for example, how does having this information on this T-shirt change the way that I see this T-shirt, right? Because it's not a T-shirt anymore; it's something more.
Yeah, exactly. As I said before, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. As I said before, it's again, you have a product that has got plenty of values within it, and usually the problem with the past was the fact that if brands were to talk to people, how would you be sure that what they say is right or not, right? So that was one of the issues why, even if you give information, the consumers would not really believe at that, not always, right? So with traceability, that changes everything, because it becomes a value again. Like it wasn't a value anymore because you wouldn't believe it. Now you can believe in it again. So you can sort of see everything about the product and sort of the life of the product, that gives a lot of value to the product itself. So and that's something that I'm
trusting the clothes we wear again.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, it gives a sort of subjectivity to the product. As we talked about, everything needs to be subjective now. I love that, the fact that all the technology, but it's all not objective but subjective. It's about the person again, right? So same thing is with a product. If you want people to engage with a product, the best way is to personalize that product in terms of, give to that product some sort of character. So if I can see the whole life of that product, it becomes something more than just a T-shirt or something. And I can sort of get identify with it. I can sort of, exchange something with it. Yeah.
Can I just?
If there's anything else you guys want to add.
We are going. I mean, freelancing. Okay, so now this is something that just to share with you, because now we are talking about tracing information with QR code or RFID or NFC, and I'm talking about acronyms that are basically technology you put on products or to engage people through the product. But what is going to, I think that will happen in the next few years is the fact that the product itself will become more smart. So the textile, the fabrics will be different. Inside that, you can have all the information you need to have the traceability. You can engage a product, or the products can engage yourself. You can use a jacket to enter a particular place because they recognize that the jacket is authorized to enter inside a store or inside a disco pub or a bar or an event. And this is something that is very exciting from engagement perspective, for traceability, for the counterfeiting of stuff, because of the fact that also now there are some cases in this that Google and Levi's made a jacket that is able to recharge the battery of your iPhone or your smartphone, or you can just tap on the jacket and start a call or stuff like that. This is something that the smart product will be a big change for me. This is my personal opinion. And all the things that we discuss now will be even more holistic and easy to do, and probably the customer will expect them from a product in a few years from now.
So not only like the physical retail space as an experience, but the product itself as something to experience.
Yeah.
It's very, very nice. Cool, great. So if we go back to the question I asked at the beginning of this talk, is it possible to remodel the retail experience to better serve the needs of the consumer? It seems like you all answered yes, but by giving very different tools and means. So I don't know, I'm almost wondering, what would a retail experience that mixes all three together look like? Yeah. I mean, imagine you walk into a store and the first thing you see is Drawlight's installations that like put you in that right set of mind to walk into the store. And then second thing, you have a super, super personalized retail experience that was designed based on you as individual and that focuses around you. And then the third thing, you walked in because you wanted that white T-shirt I was talking about at the beginning, but now I can, through BCOME's technology, see the whole story of that white T-shirt, and all of a sudden, I trust the clothes that I'm wearing again. There's this item of clothes shares the same values as I do. Now, that, for me, it's a retail experience that serves my need as consumer better. So yeah, I don't know, maybe you guys should work together, start writing a business plan.
Yeah, for me, well, I think that there are two things that I want to remark. First of all, of course, brands and industry must think about how to be more, how to enhance experience in retail, but there is an important thing here that also customers must be ready to listen and to feel that experience. So at the end of the day, what I think that we are talking about is to redefine and change the culture of how we consume. And in that sense, I think that it's time to get more emotional through experience, through personalized, through information. But we must be sure that the customer is prepared to receive all these inputs that we are offering right now, which I think we are, but we also need to make sure that they are.
Yeah, I think that it's a lot of things to do to teach that customers, but I wanted to congratulate you because I think that it's an excellent panel to share that is it possible. Maybe we can, if you want to do it alone, it's impossible. So you need to start thinking about partners. Okay, we are only 2 years ago, but we truly believe that if we want to lead the change, we need some partners there, and we will need to work together in terms of transparency, in terms of experience, in terms of uniqueness. There are a lot of smart ideas and a lot of technology that I'm sure that if we are just working out together, we can really lead the change and change the industry. That
Absolutely.
it's
So
must change.
activating those synergic partnerships with people that can even work in a completely different industry than you, but that share the same values and vision for the future and want to work together in that direction.
Congratulations for the panel.
No, I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thought to conclude this talk. But I saw Mick was going like this, so I will let him finish his thoughts.
No, it was just to, what you said is very important. No matter what we do, even together, the most important thing is always to get people to slow down when they get into some space in general, right? Like we've been seeing that in the church. You go into church, there's always a sort of room before the church that slows you down, and then it makes you be more spiritual in a way. I'm not going to go into like religious stuff, but in the end,
We can if you want. we can
exactly. Now, in the end, if you are really like need stuff very fast and you got so much stimuli everywhere, there's nothing that can work. People will not pay attention to anything. So the first thing we do that obviously with the installations, but there's many ways. The first thing is to slow people down and to make them be in the here and now, so that they can have more awareness about themselves, start to understand and realize what I need, what do I need here, right? And if they start to feel themselves a little bit more, that's where they will start to understand what they would want. And that would probably help the industry in general as well, right? Because you're not going to buy that t-shirt just because it's €5 or something.
Totally agree. Conscientiousness and just practice minimalism in every step of our life, no? I think that
Yeah, exactly.
get more conscious.
Great. BCOME plus Dental plus Drawlight, new venture capital.
Can I have just one minute?
Of course.
Yeah, because there is something that I really like to share. I'm from the e-commerce. I work a lot with e-commerce. When we are talking about the retail transformation, the short answer is everything will be sold via e-commerce. And it is, I said that I'm an e-commerce guy. I'm sure that is not the answer. So this is not the answer. E-commerce is just an additional retail store that is used to sell, but there is many reasons that we don't have time now to discuss about why e-commerce cannot be the answer. The answer is more complex, lucky for us, is to think about how the retail must change the way the service provides, maybe supporting the e-commerce, but not be replaced by the e-commerce. So I think that I'm quite sure that the store will not disappear from the street. But the stores that will not adapt to this changement, and we see Amazon as an enemy. If they say that Amazon is the enemy, so that we cannot do anything more, I love Amazon. So I never worked with Amazon, but I love Amazon, and they are doing a great job. But this store probably will die. But the store that see that this is an opportunity to change, and how to change is not a recipe that none of us already have. We are experimenting a lot. But the way is to experiment, to try to create new services, new engagement level, and not just give up because there is e-commerce that is coming. E-commerce is not the answer to what is going on. E-commerce will still have a huge, but commerce is like 10% of the total revenue of the retail. 90% is driven by the retail, the physical store. So it's something that must be kept in mind. And lucky for us, most of our clients know this. But of course, we have to think about the reason why to ask people to get into the store, while they can, of course, ordering something at home. But this is the challenge that we need to face, to me.
Absolutely. Good. Guys, thank you very, very much. I know who to call should we ever choose to open a rod store. Matteo, I took notes. Again, thank you very much for joining us today. Great insights. Thanks.
Thank you.
To you.